Hey, good morning. Nathan here. So, I don't know. I've not posted much on like my history of where I came from, examples of where my drug addiction started. Um, I grew up in a small area. This is a real small area. There's like 5,000 people in my town, um, and the town I was from isn't much bigger. Very small. Not a lot to do. Drugs started instantly, and they do with a lot of most. I think. I happened to have a run in with some inhalants. So inhalants was a drug that is very dangerous, and people don't even realize what's under their counters that kids will just go get into to find some way of something to do or boredom or whatever the reasoning. And then as that went, marijuana obviously was one of the first. Alcohol was easily accessible, and I started running from things. I think in general, I mean, as we're young and we're kids, our reasonings can be, you know, so many different things, and it's hard to kind of pinpoint back maybe the exact reasons um, that these addictions are started or that they're embraced and become part of you. Um, and then from there, I had some interactions with some, LSD, coke. It became my lifestyle. It became what I did. You know, I I just lived life and didn't care. I had fun. I didn't worry about repercussions or the impact on those around me. I didn't care. It became a very selfish crutch and habit. And as time went on, we bury more and more things that we want to numb, more and more things that we want to ignore or not acknowledge or live through and go through. We start piling things on to make that go away, and that can be food, that can be sex, that can be drugs, that can just be whatever it is that ends up being what you find escape in. Um, it's just not a way to go. And then, obviously, well, not obviously, but when you start doing drugs, then you start slowly losing values that, are you, and they become buried underneath all these things that we're trying to numb. And then what we're putting on top with the drugs to numb is also causing its own things that, just make things spiral down. And so it went to breaking into things, and I got a couple prison sentences. On my third, um, I was at that point, urine test, so you're not trying drinking. Drinking became my new escape. My drinking progressed as well as the other drugs. The other drugs didn't stop either. The drinking was just added, and then I tried to get slicker with the other drugs. Like cheating piss tests and drinking a lot of water, etc., etc. But the alcohol really killed who I was inside. It really took away from the way I was raised, my values, my morals. It just became underneath something, and when I drank, it killed the part of me, the awareness that would watch the stuff that's coming out of my mouth. And I would bury them pains, and we have a really good way of projecting what's going on inside onto someone else. So when you bury these things that cause resentment, hurt, pain, anger, and then you add something on top of it that takes away from who you are and the control over that, it can just be horrible. I got up to the point of drinking a half gallon of vodka a day at the time of my accident. Um, I went out that night on my birthday, and I don't remember how much I drank, but I remember the events. I remember I was out, car hopping at the time, and the cops had been called. They were following behind uh, when I got in the accident, and the accident the accident was a very pivotal point in my life. Obviously, it changed a lot of who I am. I was paralyzed from the chest down. But nothing changed on the other aspects. The trying to numb it, I just had to numb more. I had to ignore more. I had to not experience more. And when you're dealing with something this extensive, you can't really ignore it. So the limit and the levels of drugs and alcohol that would be consumed to try to not be where I am just got absurd. And the overdoses ever overdoses. I probably had a dozen. Um, you know, I, Finally, I was blessed in. I was raised really, really strongly about caring for your animals, and I love my animals. Anybody that sees my social media sees how much I value Sheba, um, my queen over here. Um, and it was an overdose that was put me in a position to where I had to make a choice: lose my home, lose my independence, uh, and lose my dog, or get my shit together. And sad that I wasn't enough reason for that, but I'm very blessed with Miss Shiba Sue that she started something to help me turn my head a little bit. To help me turn my head and be able to see that I have more value than what I'm giving myself credit and that my actions are showing. I had myself. Um, so after that had happened, I started working on my health. I started, caring more. Started supplements. Started exploring spirituality. Read some great books by Joe Dispenza. Obviously, Alan Watts, Eckhart Tolle, Terrence McKenna are all like ones I really really enjoy learning about. Um, but I guess the moral is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At some point you can turn your head and you can get a different view. It's not easy, but I feel that once you get to a certain point, there's no turning back. And no matter how bad my day is, I try to, stay with my positivity and love. And I love y'all. Peace out. And I hope everybody finds what they need to see their true potential and what they offer, because we all have a lot to offer. We all have a soul inside that's pure. We're just like each other. I'm one, you're one, we're all in one, we're all in love. Uh, Trust in the cosmos, God, Jesus, Muhammad, whatever your view is, find God, find love, and find the way to live in love and not focus on all the bullshit. But peace out. I love y'all and stay